Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be super duper chill. I'm going to make some candles and I'm going to answer some questions. What a wonderful... First, I'm going to chat a little bit about how I make my candles. We'll get into making candles and then we'll get into the Q&A while the candles are doing their thing. The process of making candles is super easy. You heat the wax, you wait for it to cool to a certain temperature, and you add your oil in, the thing that makes it smell like a candle or have a scent, and then you pour it into a jar that has wicks in it, and then you let it cool and you're ready to go. Things you'll need to make candles, I'll link them all below, but you're gonna need candle wax, wicks, wick holders, fragrance oils or essential oils, a thermometer, candle jars, and a scale. So let's just start making some candles and then we'll get into the Q&A. So I'm gonna be making them in these little gold tins that I got from Amazon. I'll link them below. First off, I'm gonna measure out the wax and get that heated. Now you need about 5 ounces for this candle. This is what the soy wax looks like. It comes in these little flakes. While that's melting back there, I'm gonna prepare the candle jar and answer my first question. One of the most asked questions that I get on YouTube is, how did I learn how to code? I made a video all about my journey to becoming a software engineer, which you can check out on my channel if you're interested. I'll link it in the cards here or here. But the TLDR is, I was back in high school, I went to a STEM focused program, like a math and tech focused program, mainly because the option was that program or going to an IB program. And I hate reading. I suck. English isn't my first language, so I suck at like literature or interpreting the meaning or writing essays. Like I'm pretty bad at that stuff. It takes a lot of effort for me to write an essay. I decided not to go to the IB program and to instead go to the STEM program at a different high school. As part of the curriculum, you had to take a programming class. And so I took that class and I happened to be very good at it. I had no prior knowledge of like tech or computers or coding or anything. I just really liked math at that point. So that was my first experience. I happened to be good at it. So then I took more classes in high school. When it came time to apply to college, I decided to major in computer science and I went to USC, fight on. It's also here in LA. But yeah, that's basically how I started to code. Anyway, this is the candle jar prepped. I use these little stickers. A pack of 400 of them was like $6 or something on Amazon. Put the wicks on the stickers. Obviously very self-explanatory. They're double-sided. So this candle is prepped and let's check on the wax. Oh, it's fully melted now. So we've got our wax here, it's all melted. I just need to wait till this gets to right below the flash point of this candle, because if you add it in before that, the scent will burn off in the candle. It can't handle that high of a heat. Flash point for this specific candle is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, I'm using a specific pouring pot. It has just a little spout that makes it easy to pour the wax. But you can just use a regular pot if you're using soy wax, because soy wax is super easy to clean and it doesn't damage your pots or anything. So we can move on to the second most asked question. What coding languages do I use? Mainly a backend engineer. I do have full stack experience though, so I do sometimes work in React. I'd say the primary languages we use are JavaScript, because we have a lot of node-based applications, and we started moving a lot of services to Go. I would say JavaScript and Go are the 2 main languages that I code in currently, but I'll add to that because I kind of never answer that question. I'm gonna use the pink peony and I'm gonna use the entire bottle. Oh, this smells fantastic. As I'm pouring it, I'm just using a chopstick to kind of stir it a little bit. Oh, this smells so good. The scent is really awesome. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't like answering the what coding language you use a lot, because I think a lot of people have this impression that you need to learn one language and only really know how that language works. But what I think is important is to have a fundamental understanding of how the language works and how computers work, how it's using the hardware / system that you are coding on. And once you learn those fundamentals, moving from language to language is super easy. Like for example, I picked up Go just at work. I had no experience with Go, and then I was given a ticket to rewrite a service in Go, and I just did it. I just looked up how Go worked and hit up a few coworkers who had experience with Go and just figured it out. But it's really simple to figure it out because I do have the fundamental knowledge. So instead of trying to learn a specific language, I think I would always recommend beginners to start with an Intro to CS course, and you can find a lot of them on websites like MIT OpenCourseWare, or there's a lot of free Stanford ones out there. But yeah, that's my tip there. Now we're gonna have to put our wick holders in place so we could pour the candle. So I have my jar here that I'm gonna pour it into. I already taped two sides of my chopsticks, and if you can see that, just slide it in here. I just kind of poke through. I'm gonna be cutting off the top of this wick anyway, so I don't care if it gets messed up, but essentially just try to poke it through. You can obviously, I'm too lazy to like undo the tape and do it again, but you could just, like for the example, this one, or not this one. Like for example, for this one, I cut one side of the tape off, and you can retape it after you put your wick in there. It's a lot easier if you want to do it that way. But I just do it this way because I'm lazy. So as you can tell, the wicks are straight up and these are holding the wick up. And then now we're just gonna pour this bad boy in here, and you just wanna pour very slowly. I'm gonna actually put you guys on the tripod again. So this normally hardens after like just in one night, but they say to leave it for about 2 days for the scent to cure better, but feel free to do whatever you want to do. So I'm just gonna put this aside. Ooh. And now we're just gonna repeat the process. So measure out the wax, heat it up, put the oil in there, do the candle jar thingy, and pour it in. So the next question I always get is, where are you from? I'm from Florida, but I'm actually I was born in Albania. So shout out to all my fellow Albanians out there. I lived there until I was 8 years old, and then my parents won the immigration lottery and we got to move to America. Such a cool story. They applied each year on their anniversary, and then one year they won it and we got to come to America. That I get asked a lot is whether I plan to be a software engineer for the rest of my life. I'm 23 years old and I have big dreams. I don't intend to be a software engineer forever, but I think I always will be in tech. I want to start my own company in the future, probably still within the tech realm. Right now, I'm just learning as much as I can from the position that I'm currently in. Hopefully this knowledge will help propel me into the next phase of my career, but I think it's important to enjoy what you're currently doing. So yeah, right now I'm just enjoying being a software engineer, and I don't ever plan to make YouTube like a full-time thing. I just do this because it's a lot of fun, and I always loved video editing. And when I was younger, especially like in middle school, I would make stop motion videos. I don't know if you guys remember those, but like you would just write the words to a song on your fingers and like act it out, and you would take a picture for each word or phrase and you put it to the words of the music. I don't know. And let me know if anyone remembers that phase back in like, I don't even know what that year that was. So 2010, no, it wasn't 2010, 2010, 2009. Yeah, that was a fun phase in my life. I remember when I did to Hey Soul Sister, and my mom still brings it up to this day. So me and my little sister did one to Hey Soul Sister, and she's like, she gets so mad because it's like lost somewhere in the YouTube sphere because I don't have access to that account anymore, / I don't even remember what email it's tied to. So she always gets mad. She's like, I can't believe you lost that video. You need to keep your memories. But anyway, that's the TLDR on that. I don't intend to be a software engineer forever, and I don't intend to be a YouTuber or anything in the future. I just like doing this because it's fun at the moment. Adding the sheer vanilla one to this guy. This is a very sweet smell. I also get questions about what company I work at. I've said in other videos, but I got comments saying like, oh, did your company sponsor you to make this? Like, are they paying you to say this stuff or whatever? So I decided to not mention, I mean, it's really easy to find what company I work at. I just decided to not mention it in my videos anymore so that associate my name to a company. And obviously all the opinions expressed on this channel are my own, and I do this for fun and yada, yada, yada. So I'm not trying to be affiliated with my company in that sense. That's why I don't mention it anymore. I remembered one more common question that I get, and it's, do I like being a software engineer? I would say I really like it, but that's because I also really enjoy coding. I like logical thinking, logical problem solving, and all that jazz. That goes along very well with being a software engineer. So I'd say I like it. I think it's a great career choice if you are interested in it and if you enjoy it. I personally wouldn't do it if you were just doing it for the money. Although the money does like make it very comfortable, you just have to consider, would you be happy if you didn't enjoy 8 hours of your day? So all to consider, but I would say I totally recommend it. And let me put this away and I'll talk about what I like. My favorite thing about being a software engineer is building something that does a cool thing and a lot of people use, and yeah, so I like that aspect the most. I also enjoy just like the work environment, or like it depends on the company obviously, but in general, it's a lot of younger people. Everyone's super nice. I've only had great experiences with my coworkers. Cool environment, so I really like that. I like the flexibility in my work hours. My recent work day in my life, which I'll link up in the cards, shows how flexible my schedule is. So I think those are my favorite things about being a software engineer, and I totally would recommend it if you also enjoy some of those things. Obviously, it'll depend, right? The last one is wildflower and sea air, so I'm really excited for this one. My battery's blinking red, so I'm gonna charge it for a little bit and then pop you guys back in. So while y'all were charging, I poured the last candle just because it got to the temperature and I couldn't wait any longer and had to pour it. More candle talk if you're interested and you want to stick around for it. For these candles, I had to make them one by one because I only had the sample size. So I only had about 10 milliliters of each fragrance oil. So I could only make one candle with that amount of fragrance oil. But normally you would get like 600 milliliters of a fragrance oil. You would buy that in bulk. You'd be able to make like 4 or 5 candles all at once, or like 6 candles depending on how big your melting pot is. So normally you'd make a bunch at once. You would obviously streamline the process and it wouldn't take as long. So that's why I make them one by one, because I was testing out a bunch of fragrance oils from that fragrance kit. But now I'm done with the fragrance kit and I'm gonna order a bunch of them. So I'll be making more in the future. But yeah, and also I do this just for fun. I know some people like sell their candles and stuff, but one time I went over to someone's house and their house smelled magical. They just had so many candles everywhere, and I was like, dang, like that must be so expensive. Like, you know, a candle costs like, you know, even a small candle is like $5 for a candle, right? So I was like, damn, that must be expensive. But then she was like telling me about how she makes them herself, and you could just buy all the items in bulk and make them all at once and have magical smelling home super easily and a lot cheaper than if you were to buy each individual candle. So that's what got me into it. And it's just like a fun little thing that I like to do. I'd say making candles, cooking, and pottery are all my like de-stress, and also working out. I like to work out as a de-stressor. Anyway, it's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.